Okay, hello everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Alexis Conley, and for those of you who don't know me, I am the Assistant Director of Alumni Relations at the university. I'd like to welcome you to today's Aluminar, and today we have our presentation, The Asset Mindset, a Special Forces Perspective for Achieving Success, with class of 2000 alum and former Special Forces soldier Daniel Fielding. First, I'd like to take us through a few housekeeping initiatives. As most folks know, this event is being recorded today. If you look up in your top right corner, you can see that there are different views. You would like to choose the speaker view for optimal viewing. If you could please stay muted and video off as not to distract from the presentation while Dan is speaking. And then just so folks know, question and answer will take place immediately following the presentation. As always, please feel free to type in questions at any time using the chat feature in the middle of the bottom toolbar. Questions will be compiled and answered at the end. We will stay online until all questions are answered. If you need to jump off the Zoom, the recording will be available on our brand new website, bridgew.edu/alumni, within the next few days. And without further ado, a man who needs no introduction, our amazing series MC, Dr. Robert Bradley, class of 2012. Well, maybe okay, he needs a little introduction, so here it is. Rob Bradley is the head of Bridge Research at State Street Associates, a team that bridges the gap between empirical finance research and practice. Rob is the co-chair of the Bridgewater State University Employee Network at State Street and is on the board of State Street's Numerous Network. He is also a part-time faculty member at Boston College and a visiting lecturer at Framingham State University. He holds a bachelor's degree in economics from Bridgewater State University, class of 2012, where he also majored in English, a master's degree in applied economics from Northeastern University, class of 2014, and recently a PhD in applied economics from Northeastern University, class of 2020. Rob lives in Bridgewater with his wife and his 3 kids. Take it away, Dr. Rob.
Thank you, Alexis, and thank you everybody for joining us today. I was looking through the participant list. I think we have the most new faces I've seen in any of these alumni, so I'm really excited. Today's presentation is going to be one that everybody's going to find really valuable and will be able to practically apply to their lives. So I'm personally incredibly excited for this. Without further ado, let me introduce our speaker today. An alumnus from Bridgewater State University's class of 2000, Dan Fielding is also a former Special Forces soldier, loving husband, father of 3 beautiful children, and the author of The Asset Mindset, available on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble. You can get it on Kindle and Nook, and we'll remind you of that a couple times throughout this presentation as well. Everybody should go out and buy Dan's book. Born in the mid-1970s, Dan grew up learning about life day to day and year by year through experiences. And during this time was creating a certain mindset. He noticed themes in life and in himself that led to great success. Dan overcame great challenges and achieved goals that many others would believe were impossible. Dan became a U.S. Army soldier and one of the very few to become an elite Special Forces Green Beret. Even after leaving the Special Forces, Dan found himself in surreal situations, working for and befriending celebrities and traveling the world, all thanks to the asset mindset. He shares, "We all build and create our mindsets, either positively or negatively, and continue to do so throughout our lives. My book is the positive means that I have chosen to share with others to help them to achieve success in their lives." And so without further ado, Dan, please take it away.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much for that great introduction. That was a great job. Terrific. And thanks for having me here. It's great to be a part of the alumnars and on the presentation. So without further ado, I'll get into the asset mindset and what it is and how you can learn to be your greatest asset in life. So I'm here to help motivate you today with what I'm going to share. Obviously, I can't cover everything in the book, but I'm going to do my best to give you as many of the nuggets that are in the book that you can take away or hopefully stimulate you to go find things that you want to do and achieve and to create the mindset that will allow you to be able to go on and accomplish things. So because of the asset mindset, like you said, I've been able to overcome a lot of stuff. going to become a Special Forces Green Beret was not easy. You have to have a mindset to push through things. You're tired, you're hungry, you haven't eaten, you haven't slept. These things, you have to have a strong mind. It's not a physical thing that just gets you through it. It's your mind. And I'm sure many of you out there have had things in your life that you've gone through that realized it was really tough, and what got you through it was your mindset, or things that you thought and latched onto that helped motivate you to get where you were. So I'm going to start with sharing one of the things that, as the life I went through was developing and in creating the asset mindset, like Rob was talking about, was my martial art career. So during the martial arts, when I was training and before I won tournaments and became a national champ, the thing that really helped me was a code, and it's called the Dragon Warrior Code. And it's, I am what I am because I choose to be. I'm a dragon by choice and subject to its loss. My instructors, family, and my classmates are my heart and my mind. Even though we may disagree with each other, we still strive to be one, forgetting all categories and letting energy which wishes to exist, exist. And as a dragon, I must go forth to seek the Tao in the void, understanding myself and finding peace within. So that right there was super powerful, especially in teenage years. You're like trying to find yourself and understand yourself. So having that to latch onto was very, very beneficial and a great asset for me in developing the asset mindset. It helped me learn to accept things and let things go, and then realize that I had power within, like that I am what I am because I choose to be. Many of you have your career. Why? Because you chose to go down that path. You studied, you went to a school, things that you want to accomplish, where you want to live, all those things, you had to make the decision, I'm going to choose to do that. So having the right mindset and learning to choose where you want to go is going to help you get to where you want to be. So what is the asset mindset? The asset mindset is a philosophy and understanding that we are each our own greatest asset for achieving success. We need to own the power to reach our goals. So we have to have that. And we have to understand that, hey, I am my greatest asset. We can also be our own worst enemies by having a negative thought process, or letting the ego come in and trick us and make us believe things that aren't true about ourselves or situations. We don't want to do that. We want to work on our mind and being more positive. It's like the old saying, like every cloud has a silver lining. We always want to try and focus on that lining. Part of that I'll talk a little bit more later is being a page master. And it's kind of like if you were reading a book and your life was like a book, that you could turn the page between, hey, this is a good chapter or a good paragraph or a bad one. So like if you're stuck reading the same bad things over and over again in your mind, you don't want to do that. You want to, hey, change the subject. So another thing that inspired me with the asset mindset was the De Oppressor Libere, which is Latin to liberate from oppression or free the oppressed. And that is the Special Forces motto. So any Green Beret, that's our motto, is to free the oppressed. Well, after getting out and off active duty, I've kind of taken that motto and transitioned it. And I'm now using it to be like, this is what I want to do. I want to help people free themselves from their own oppression. That who is the person that oppresses us the most is our own mind. Like we will think negatively, or we will have those bad thoughts. We don't want to do that. So part of my goal has been in carrying on kind of that Special Forces mission, De Oppressor Libere, our motto is to help people create a positive asset and to free themselves from their own oppression within their own minds. So obstacles in life come, we all have them. So to get over these obstacles, I've also developed this mindset method. It's kind of an acronym for mindset. And the first M is motivation. You need to have your motivation. You got to begin with your why. So figure out your why. Take some time to meditate, read, journal, write. Do whatever it is you need to do to find your motivation. If you already have motivation, as far as I want to do this for my family, my loved ones, or you have those dreams, that's great. That's number one, you're already there. So start with that. Those motivational things and the inspiration you find from them is the fuel that will drive you to get to where you want to go. So once you know your purpose or where you're going, It's kind of easy. It's like putting a GPS coordinate, when you've got your phone and you're like, hey, I want to go from point A to point B, you know your destination. So now you just got to drive the route. Just like in life, as in traffic, there might be construction, there might be an accident. You might have to reroute, but you still know your destination, which is what's key. You want to know where you're going. So find that motivation about your destination, your goals and your dreams, then you can start creating your route and your plan to get there. And it all comes from having that mindset where, all right, I can do this. So the I in mindset is improve yourself. You always have to be improving or working to improve yourself. In the military, we talked about, fighting positions. You always want to improve your fighting position. Or if you're in a hide site, every chance you get to put another twig up or improve your camouflage or to get a better view or do whatever, you always want to be trying to improve. If you're stagnant, you're not going to grow. You're not going to achieve things that you want. So you want to improve your habits that are going to help you achieve success. And you also want to improve your environments. Say you're in a bad environment, you need to move from it. You got to get out of it and go somewhere else. So you got to be making all different types of improvements. I think every one of us right now, to include myself, I can do better too. We all know something right now that we could do better. We could eat a little more healthy. We could exercise more. Geez, I probably should read a little more. Maybe I should study this a little more. So take those things that you already know inside and start using that and applying it, because you can make your life better and you can achieve great things once you believe and have that asset mindset that you can make it happen. So if you're having difficulties with this, figure out who is an asset or what assets are out there. Where can you go to get better support? Who can you talk to? Who can you learn from? If you want to learn to play, I don't know, musical instrument, go find a teacher. These are things that you can do and they will help you grow. One thing, this is a good one that I have over here as a note, I just looked down and saw to myself, is your secret of your future success is hidden in your daily habits. That's very important. I love that. The secret of your future success is hidden in your daily habits. That's one of the things as far as improving. So your future success will happen from the things you're doing now and today. So that's very important. So now in the end, for never stop learning and growing. Keep educating yourself, like we were talking about. Make it a mission to learn and grow every day. Find one thing that you can do every day. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you have half an hour of free time, find that thing and work on it. Take advantage of the time you have, because we all only have so much. I talk about in my book how time, is like fuel in a gas tank, except when we're all born in our vehicles, our bodies, we don't know how big the gas tank it is. We don't have a gauge on it, so we don't know how much time we have left. So make the most of what you have. You want to maintain it. You don't want to neglect it so it breaks down. You want to keep being able to go towards your goals and drive to where you want to be and reach your dreams. That brings us to, in the mindset method, the D for dreams. Dream big. You have to have big dreams. They got to scare you, or you're not pushing yourself enough. One of the things that we say in the military is like, you have to feel like you're alive, to do things and want to do stuff. You need to have big goals. What are your goals? That goes back to your motivation and inspiration that we talked about earlier. But you have to have these that are real big and are going to create you to go out there and go after them. You do not want to be stuck just doing the same routine. Don't fall into that trap. Please, please don't. It's not a good thing. You want to get out there every single day and be making improvements, chasing your dreams, have a vision board. Vision boards are so powerful. They're reminders. A lot of people think like, oh, just because I put something on a board doesn't mean it's going to happen. No, but it's a reminder. That is part of inspiration. Maybe you'll see it and it'll motivate you every day. Vision boards and putting things up as far as dreams, a whiteboard, maybe writing down plans is very important. It's been extremely helpful. And I know every team room, when I say team room, I'm talking about like an A team. Or even a SEAL team for that matter. They do the same thing. I've been in those team rooms too. Everybody has whiteboards up. They're writing on there, they're changing things, making plans. Do that. You have to have a plan, have whiteboards, organize yourself. The more organized you are, the better. One thing you want to have too, as far as plans, while I'm on this subject, is I want to talk about PACE plans. These plans, or PACE, is your primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. And seeing how we're on the Alumnars, I'll talk about college and use that as an example. Many of us, when we went to school, we applied for more than one school, right? Because what happens? You may not be accepted. So you want to have an alternate. You want to have a contingency. You want to have an emergency. So that way, when life happens and things go wrong, or one door closes, you already have an option to go a different direction. Or going back to that GPS analogy, if you already have a couple different routes to get to where you want to go, when the road's blocked, it's no big deal. You're like, oh, I'll just take, Cherry Street, or I'll go down Fifth Ave and get over there. So it's not that big of a deal. And it's just a small inconvenience, not a showstopper for where you want to go with your dreams. Don't get stumped is another thing. This has a special connotation or meaning as far as don't get stumped for me and my book. I'll share a little story about growing up and achieving things that people think are impossible. So when I was about 12 years old, and when we were all young and at that pre-teenage years, we like to think we're starting to figure things out and being important. Well, my dad had his friend come over after work, and we had just cut down a big, huge pine tree. And there was this large stump. And this guy, Jim, was telling us how, oh man, that's going to be super hard to get out. That's a big tree. That's a giant stump. I'm like, 12-year-old boy, I could do that myself this weekend. And he's like, yeah, right. I bet you $100 you couldn't. And I'm like, what? $100? And I was doing paper routes at that time. So like, that was 2 months worth of work. I'm like, I'll take that bet. And then he was like, oh, I don't want to take money from a kid. My father was there, and he's like, no, he needs to know that words have meaning. And so we made the bet, we shook hands, and Jim's like, man, I feel bad going to take money from a 12-year-old, because there's no way you're going to be able to do that. But there's the bet. I'll be back Monday to check. So all weekend I worked and I worked and I worked, and it was a struggle. It rained on me one day. I didn't know there was a taproot on the pine tree. I was like miserable. My hands were all pruny from it rained. I got blisters. And I sat at one point on the edge and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. And then I realized I had come so far and where I was at that I couldn't quit. I was like, all right, I'm just going to do it and keep going. Well, lo and behold, I ended up getting that giant stump out of the ground, and I won the $100. That Monday he came by and he was in complete disbelief. He thought my father actually helped me get the stump out. And my father was like, no, he worked all day Saturday through the rain and everything. So the point of this story is you can get through things that other people deem are impossible. You can achieve things through hard work. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to tell anybody that, ooh, you have this mindset and you develop the asset mindset, everything's going to be easy. No, that's not the case. However, it will make it easier to achieve your goals and dreams if you continue to pursue things with a positive mindset using the asset mindset philosophy. So next we come to empower yourself, which is that I think is why we're all here. We want to empower ourselves. So empower yourself through your thoughts. Start thinking positively. Read things that make you realize how powerful you are in your mind, things that you can do and accomplish. Get books, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. Do the research, whatever it is that helps you. You know what inspires you. You know yourself better than anybody. Once again, you are your own greatest asset. So use those things. And another thing I want to share with you that I see a lot of people have now, I can't do that. Kids say it, I can't do that. I don't know how. Adults, oh, I can't do that. I'm too old now. Well, you need to get out of the I can't mentality, and you have to have the how do I. So this is one of the key features or elements of the asset mindset that I've learned, especially in special forces, because there's so many missions and things we're given. It's like, oh, I can't do that. Or you want me to stay up for how long or go here or do that? If we did the I can't mentality, we would never go on a mission. those impossible things, we were like, all right, how do we do it? How do we do it? Keep thinking about it, problem solve. All right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So figure it out. Have the how do I mentality instead of the I can't mentality. And your thoughts will create your future. Once you start thinking that way, you'll be like, all right, this isn't impossible. I can learn the guitar. I can, learn whatever it is you want to do, or I can achieve this. I can have that dream house, or maybe I can remodel my kitchen, or whatever these dreams are, home, house, career, family, get out there, go to where the action is. That's another thing. I reference being close to people, and then go to places where the people that are doing what you want to do. There's a great book on it called The Proximity Principle. Is if you want to be a singer, you got to go where singers are. You don't want to be saying, I want to be an actor and just living out in the middle of nowhere. You got to go where people are acting. You got to become an actors club or guild, or join something and get involved. You want to be a speaker, go to Toastmasters, those type of things. So you need to get into that environment. And that's one of the great things. Having the right mindset will help you get there. All right, so now we're talking about that leads into our next letter, T of the mindset method, or teammates and tribe. So build your team up. Right now, we're kind of all on the same team. We're alumni of Bridgewater State College from when I was there, but now university. So congratulations to the university or the college too for reaching that status. But that's what we are. We're teammates. Find those teammates, people that are going to help you. We all have them. Look around. That's one of the great things that I think is going to benefit people that read the asset mindset, is you're going to realize that all these assets are already around you. You already have yourself. You already have friends and family and people that care. You have mentors in your life. Every one of us has been mentored by somebody. And if you don't have those people there, go find them. Nobody's stopping you from joining a club. Join a book club. Join whatever club is that you want to do. I mean, if you want to learn how to sail, there's clubs for going out sailing in a boat. You can do it. So the other thing with this is most mentors want to share. Anybody that's successful that I've ever come across in life, whether it's, successful military people, celebrities, musicians, all of those people, when I've been around them, or when I was doing security for them, working with them, or just friends hanging out with them, they've always shared their information. I mean, you can think about that in your career and people that have mentored you. Have they been willing to share, or do they try and keep it secret? No, people that are successful want to share success with others. So that is a blessing right there. So find those people that can help build your dreams and your success, and that will lead you to a spot where you can achieve these things. Now, there are, temporary mentors or teammates that you may have. Like, say, I'll go back to a musical thing. You want to learn the piano? Yeah, you're going to find a teacher that will teach you how to play the piano and give you lessons. Now, they might not be, there for you for the rest of your life, but for that goal that you had, or that dream to play the piano, they were there to help you. You found them. Now, there's other people that are going to be with you for life. Those people are very valuable. Those are the ones that are going to know you the best and going to be able to point you in the right direction. And they're going to tell you hard truths sometimes, but they're also going to be there to support you no matter what. Asset mindset teammates for life are so key. Look around, reflect on your life, and see who's out there, and then lean on them. Don't be afraid to do that. We all kind of have that, oh, I got it, or I don't want to burden other people. No, it helps. Like, teammates and tribe are very important as far as having the asset mindset, or just having the ability to reach dreams and goals in life. There's a reason why there's a Special Forces A team, or there's a SEAL team, because a team of like-minded people with positive mindsets or asset mindset or goals, that team can do so much. Now, the crazy thing is, I'm going to share a quick story here too, is the more you give, the more you get. I know it sounds silly, but I have a former teammate of mine that him and his wife were having a baby. And while I was away working, I was able to visit him. And I went there and, I brought some baby shower gifts and a card with some money in it and was like, congratulations. And he was like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we end up hanging out for a little while, doing what friends do. And we end up being in the garage, and he opens up his gun safe and he goes, hey, look at this new scope I got. And, he's showing, he was a sniper and a sniper instructor with the Green Berets. But long story short is he ended up, because he got his new scope, he gave me his old scope. Now this old scope was a piece of equipment that was well over $1,000. I just went there and I gave him a few $100s worth of things for a baby shower. I went there to give to him, and he ended up giving to me something that was more valuable, monetarily. And I was just blown away. I tried to give him money, he wouldn't take it back. Now that's just a small example. I'm sure we all have things like we've done stuff for people and then we end up getting something in return, or pay it forward. People do that all the time. So having teammates like that in your life, don't be afraid to give to them, and you will receive. Sometimes it's difficult to do that, but we can do it. And I will tell you though, be careful and be cautious, because your team or your tribe can definitely lift you up, but they can also bring you down. So you need to choose wisely. If you're hanging out with people that are just whining and complaining all the time, or get together in the weekend and, I don't know, they're just playing video games or not working on goals, or they're just complaining, or people, there's people that just go to the bar on the weekend or after work and sit there and complain about their problems. Those are not the people that you want to be hanging around with, the people that are going to pull you down. You want to be with people and teammates and build your tribe that are going to lift you up. So be careful. And sometimes it's difficult, and I can speak from personal experience on this one too. Family members sometimes can pull us down. And as hard as it is, sometimes we need to step back and step away a little bit. We need to be like, all right, is this person helping me in my life? Are they lifting me up, or are they bringing me down? And it's a tough choice, but it's tough love sometimes. So you need to walk away, or not necessarily walk away, but maybe handle things differently. Try and figure out a way that you can work with them to be more positive. If they're bringing you down or complaining, say, hey, look, if you're going to talk to me like that, or, only have bad, negative stuff to say, I don't want to hear about it. I'll listen a little bit if you want to vent, but if every time we're going to go over the same thing again and again, or if they have like conditional love, they're always trying to get you to do stuff and control you through that, then that's not an asset mindset teammate either. You want people that are going to lift you up, which is very important. So teammates and tribe are key. They're not the biggest key. I mean, all these keys are the different things to unlock different stuff in life. So please definitely choose your tribe and your teammates wisely. You are who you hang out with. I think many of us have heard that, like you're pretty much the average or the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most. So you're kind of in that same crew. I know my grandmother used to always say, birds of a feather flock together. So do be careful of that. Step back and look at it. One of the things with the asset mindset is being able to reflect a lot and step back and look at yourself, but also look at the people around you, look at your dreams, look at your goals, all that. You need to reflect a lot. If you're not reflecting on your life and you're just in the Army, we always call it droning. If you're just like droning zombie, I go to work, I come home, I go to work, I come home. You're not working on goals. You haven't found any motivation. You're not really living life. And that's why earlier I stated you need to dream big. Your dream should scare you a little bit. Like I'm getting ready. I'm packing up my family. It was about 2 months ago. I had no thought of moving. I'm now moving to Nashville, Tennessee area because of the asset mindset and what I'm doing and connections and things like that. It's scary. I got 3 kids. My wife had a career. She just left her job. Well, hasn't yet. She will in a couple of days. But she's, interviewing down in Nashville area now. But we're pursuing our dreams. It is scary, but you can do it too. One thing I will say, you need to have thick skin also. When your friends or your teammates share stuff with you, don't let it hurt you too much. Or maybe it's a negative person that isn't very close to you and is not an asset mindset teammate. If they are telling you stuff that isn't true or negative or bringing you down, just brush it off. It's like they say with the saying of ducks, just let the water roll off the back. Positive attitudes are also contagious. It was always funny when we were in the military and we were in a really bad situation that somebody that would crack a joke or make fun of things, which I have a really funny story in my book about that if you do read it, which I hope you do. And I promise you'll walk away with something from it. But the laughter, the uplifting spirit of someone joking and being positive is very contagious. Same way it is negative. That's why we don't want to be around negative people. And if you have the asset mindset, the only time you're actually going to be around negative people is when you're trying to help lift them up or trying to be a positive influence in their life. It's kind of like when, we jump out of a plane, and if you have a malfunction, you don't just keep fighting with that same thing. You cut away, and say, hey, that's a problem. It's not going to work. I'm not getting the proper lift. So cut away and deploy your reserve, go to the next one. That's kind of what you have to do in life sometimes. If you're around people or in a situation, it doesn't all have to be people. It can be an environment. If you're at a toxic workplace, or a career that's not going where you want it to go, or maybe it's just a career that you're only there for the money and it doesn't give you any thrills or joy in life, it's not passionate for you, then you should be looking somewhere else. And that goes back to, you should always be trying to improve. If you're not happy with your job, I'm not telling you to quit your job, but you should be looking for the opportunity to pivot to the next job or the next career or the next move you want to make in life. If you're just going to and from that same job and complaining every day, well, guess what? It's not going to change until you make that change. No one's going to just magically be like, oh, here's your dream job that you want and that you're passionate about. You have to go out there and find it. The choice is up to you. And getting back to the asset mindset, I kind of want to use an analogy. I love analogies. I really do. They excite me, and I think they convey so much that you can understand a whole process without having to go into a whole lot. So I want you to think of yourself as a raw piece of iron or steel. Okay, there is some value to that. You get a raw piece of iron, that iron ore, say, is worth $5. All right. If you give it to a blacksmith and the blacksmith takes that iron ore and pounds it into horseshoes, guess what? That $5 ore now has more than doubled its money. It's like $12. All right. Take that same steel, that ore, and if you make it into a bunch of needles, well, guess what? You can make a lot of needles, and maybe you can make like $3,000 worth of material, or that value is now $3,000. Same ore, but because you work with it and you make it into something, it's more valuable. But what if you take that same iron ore and you use it to make those intricate watch springs that go in Rolex watches? Now you're talking maybe $300,000 from that same iron ore. The point of this analogy is your value is determined by what you make of yourself. You make yourself into what you want to be. You mold yourself into those specialized watch springs. Or if you just want to sit around and be a piece of iron ore, well, that's your freedom, your choice. But you can make yourself into something more valuable, no matter where you are in life. Because right now in life, you are the youngest you are right now for the rest of your life. So definitely think of that. My wife always laughs. Well, I shouldn't say laughs. She gives me a hard time when I say that, because she's like, why do you got to remind me? So anyway, getting back in. No one influences your life more than you do. You are your greatest asset, positively or negatively. Dreams don't come true on their own. You need to work to make them happen. Even the easy way out, like winning the lottery to become rich, still takes action. You have to go and you have to buy a ticket, right? So you have to take action, no matter what it is. If you want positive results, you have to do something. Be humble. A smart person knows they don't know everything. You're on here, you're looking to learn, you're wanting to grow. So congratulations and kudos to all of you. And thank you for being here. Thanks for listening to me. Listen to people who have walked a path before you on the goals that you want to do. They may give you tips and pointers or share a shortcut with you in life. So those are always very important. The other thing I want to share, or another, I shouldn't say the other, because there's many things I like to share. When you have the asset mindset and you live with that asset mindset philosophy, people take notice. Okay, one of the things with having a positive mindset is you have gratitude, like every little thing. Like, I'm grateful for being on here today. I really am. And I'm grateful for all of you to be on here and listen and spend time with me today and with each other. But when you have that mindset, positive people will gravitate to you. For example, one of the jobs that I got that I was not planning on doing, it was not on my radar at all, but it was an opportunity that I saw in life and I took advantage of it, is I was down in the Bahamas and there was a famous musician there. Many of us have heard of Kid Rock. And he was out on the beach and he was playing some music and doing some things, hanging out with his son. Now, I was there because I'd just gotten off active duty, and the year before I spent my birthday in Afghanistan. So I was down in the Bahamas now. But he has done many tours with the USO and done things for the troops, even donated money and done a lot of things with this foundation. So I wanted to go up and say thank you and give thanks. As I go there and I'm giving him thanks, he asked me, "Oh, are you in? Are you active duty?" I'm like, "Well, actually, I just got off active duty. I'm down here for my birthday because last year I was in Afghanistan." We start sharing story. He's busy giving me thanks and is grateful for the service I've done. I'm grateful for the support he's given. We're going back and forth, back and forth. Next thing you know, we're having dinner together, and it goes into the next day and next day. And to this day, I'm still friends with him. And I worked with him for several years. So my point is, people will notice you when you have a positive attitude. And if you look around at your friends and family, who do you like to hang out with? It's the people that are positive and lift you up and have that positive mindset. We all like being with people with a strong, positive mindset. So that is another element of the asset mindset. And it also goes to, like, when you find good people, keep them close because they are a valuable asset that you just can't replace. I'm going to stray a little bit here and go back into goals. And goals and dreams, let's look at it from a business perspective. There's that common statement about, oh, 9 out of 10 businesses fail. Okay, we've all probably heard that. But you know what that means? You only have to do something 10 times to get a win and have that success and reach that dream. That is amazing. You can do it then. It's not telling you can't. And who knows, maybe when you're doing those 10 tries, maybe it's your third try. So you only have to do it 3 times. Your third try would be the one that would be successful and help you reach your dream or your goal and make something happen. So take ownership of that. Take ownership of your lives and your dreams. Your goals should be exciting. They should scare you at the same time. And you need to find and create your mission or those goals and dreams that you want to do in life and build your network. So what do we want to walk away with today? We want to walk away with, you need to stay disciplined, never stop growing. I briefly talked about you're the youngest you are for the rest of your life right now, so take advantage of that. Have a positive mindset and create positive habits. Those habits will help create that success and plant the seeds for your future. Never quit on yourself or your dreams. You actually can't fail if you don't quit. Everybody that went through, we call it selection in special forces, that went through selection, the people who made it isn't because it wasn't hard or they didn't have problems or they didn't run into obstacles. It's because they didn't quit. I mean, in my book, I talk about a soldier that ran on our PT test. That's a physical test. He ran 2 miles with 2 broken feet. Talking about mindset and will, like, how many people would be like, oh, no, I get stress fractures in my feet and they're broken, and would have quit. But he had that mindset, like, I'm going to do it. You can push yourself through amazing things. That's one of the things I firsthand witnessed in the special forces. Now I'm talking a lot about special forces here, so I do want to add something. The asset mindset, yes, it's in the special forces community. In special forces, you have to have the asset mindset. You do not have to be in special forces to have the asset mindset. So you can have the asset mindset on your own. It's not something that's just restricted to, special forces people. That's not the case. Everybody can do it, no matter where you are, what you're doing in life, because it's more of a philosophy and a focus on how you go through things. So never quit on yourself and your dreams. It's your life. It's your choice on what you do with it. And no one influences more than you do. So I will give you three things, the three main elements of what the asset mindset is. The three elements, number one is take responsibility for your life and own your life and know the fact that you are your greatest asset. You can control your life more than anybody else. A prime example of this is I have another Special Forces Green Beret buddy. He got shot in the neck in Afghanistan. He could have been like, oh, I'm done. I got 100% disability. He's in my book also. Rami, great guy. You'd love his story. And if you want to contribute to what he's doing now, you can look up Stay in Step. It's down in Florida. It helps people recover. So going back to, I digress, I apologize for that. But Rami got shot in the neck. He was medically retired from the Army, and he could have just sat back and done nothing and just collected his 100% disability and just spent time with his family and been maybe depressed, like, oh, I used to be a Ranger in Green Beret, and now look at me, I'm stuck in a wheelchair. No, this man is the director of Stay in Step, that program that I was just mentioning in Tampa, Florida, that helps people learn to walk again, that have spinal cord injury, that have neurological problems. He started and developed this all after he's been in the wheelchair. His mindset is still, I want to do what I can, no matter what it is and whatever purpose, I'm going to find something that I'm going to give back. And he's doing that. So, many of us have these things in our head that we can't do. Once again, this goes back, we oppress ourselves in our own mind. Oh, I can't do that because of this. I can't do that because of that. This guy is stuck in a wheelchair, and he's got buildings being built. He's doing all kinds of things, helping other people and staying positive. I just talked to him not too long ago, and it was amazing. Like, he was a happy, positive person, not depressed, not complaining. So the second element I'll talk about now, and this kind of relates to what I was just sharing with Rami, is you are going to surround yourself with positive assets and positive people, because that's who helps influence your life next after yourself. So number one, own your life. You are your greatest asset. Number two, surround yourself with other positive assets, whether it be people or environments. Get into those positive places where you can flourish and grow. And then number three, the third element is you need to be that asset to others. Going back to when I was talking about teammates and tribe, when you give to others, and you will be rewarded. So you will have positive results come back to you. The more you give, the more you get. And the joy of just actually watching someone else grow, and if like you can mentor them, I'm sure many of us have those life experiences you can reflect on right now, of a moment where you helped somebody and it made you feel good. So one, own yourself and your life, realize you are your greatest asset. Two, put yourself in places or environments where it is a positive situation with people that are positive, and positive workplaces and environments. Three, you need to be that same way to others and live with an asset mindset and help others. If you do these three things, you will change your life with the asset mindset. And if any of you are interested, this is what the book looks like. The asset mindset. You can go on Amazon, read the reviews. It's been very humbling getting feedback and reviews from some of these people. I know there was a veteran that had retired for a while and was 40 pounds overweight and felt like his life was all over and behind him. He read my book and he said it changed his life. He's lost the 40 extra pounds he had. He actually sent me a picture where he's like flexing and all excited. And it's incredible. So for me, this is trying to do what I said before about helping others liberate themselves from their own oppressive thoughts. And I have to do it for myself too. The struggle is real for all of us. It's not a magic bullet. It's a guide. It's a philosophy that you can take on and you can use it, and it will be successful if you apply it and you take ownership of it. And with that, I'm going to kind of open it up for any questions that people might have for me.
Dan, that was incredible. Thank you. I like I just started thinking as you were talking your last point about having to kind of remind yourself. The whole time you're talking, I was just kind of appreciating the like holistic nature of your approach. It's not just, oh, you have to focus on yourself. It's going and recognizing the people that are around you, surrounding yourself with positive people, and then also putting that force back out to people. It is kind of it's like a lifestyle change, right? And
yes, absolutely.
And I think it's the fact that you are promoting this and you've written a book about it and are trying to share what has worked for you is kind of the ultimate embodiment of the asset mindset, is that you're here doing this and talking to people and trying to put this kind of positive energy out there. So thank you. I really appreciate it personally. And we have 2 people who ordered your book while you were talking. So you got 2 sales while you're talking. So you know you're doing a good job. That doesn't happen. That's not usually the way it goes. And then a couple of people said thank you. So Kathleen Conley said thank you. And then Evelyn had to take off, but she said thank you so much for your encouragement and uplifting presentation. So anybody who has questions, you can put them in the chat. I'll kind of monitor that and share them with Dan. Anything you want to ask him. So for me, one of the things that stuck out to me first, and obviously this is kind of the focus of your whole talk, but the need for a strong mind, not just physical strength. So I think your friend that you were talking about, who's now in a wheelchair, but also the idea of, becoming a Green Beret is such a, I don't know, it's like an abstract idea for most people. I know for you, you actually did it and are one, but for most people, it's such an abstraction. It's such like that's nothing I would ever even attempt. It's so difficult, right? So I like the fact that you started with, well, the thing that gets you there is not your physical strength, it's your mindset. And so can you talk about something you kind of finished on too, which is like your own need to remind yourself of this? Like, how often are you catching yourself either not, following it or realizing, oh, that's not the way that I have planned to behave or anything like that? Is this something that's like you're kind of constantly conscious of, or at some point does it become habit to just kind of act and behave a certain way?
So Rob, that's a great question. It is a daily thing, just like we drink water daily, right? You feel thirsty, you go get a cup of water. You need to do that when you have those moments where you're having difficulty. So for me, yes, daily, I need to work on it. It does become habitual. It gets a lot easier. As soon as you're like, oh, I'm starting to think negative, or, oh man, this is going to be really tough. Like my move right now is a prime example. Like I have tractors, equipment. We had chickens, we had all these animals we got to deal with and get rid of. And we didn't know what we were doing, but it goes back to that. All right, how do I? So my wife and I, she does it now too. She's actually in my book. She's that amazing of a woman. Like I'm so lucky to find someone that already had the asset mindset and just didn't realize it, because we all kind of have it. And we've all kind of used it at different times in our lives to achieve things. But yeah, so we sat down and we're like, all right, how do we do this? So that, I think, is the best approach when you see yourself like you're saying, oh, people think, oh, I can't be a Green Beret. That's so obtainable. We do that and shoot ourselves down with so many goals. Like, oh, I can't get that job or career. I don't have the schooling for it. Well, you know what? You can go back to school. You don't have to go full time. You can take some courses, do that. So everything comes down to the how do I? You use that once you get away from that, I can't. That is one of, I think, the biggest shifts mentally that people can do, because you hit the nail on the head and you're like, oh, I can't be a Green Beret. A lot of people do that. And now we're using that as an analogy, but it could be like, oh, I can't afford to buy a new car. Well, yeah, you can if you save, if you do things smart with your money, if you budget, you can. Yeah, you might not be able to right now, but you can figure out the how do I. So that's my answer for that. I hope I answered your question.
That's perfect. Yeah, because it is one of those things. You hear somebody who's, seems to have kind of control of the idea, right? Like you are aware of it enough to have written a book to be able to talk about it and things. So even the mindset itself is one of those things where it's like, can I even shift my thinking? So it's good to hear that you're okay. This is going to be a thing that you have to work on and be conscious of and aware of. So somebody asked in the chat, what's the first thing you say to yourself when you wake up?
What do I need
PG.
to do today?
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. You know, or maybe sometimes it's what time is it? Because I got to check the time to make sure I'm doing things right. No. The one thing that I do try and every day is like, what positive changes can I make? What can I work on? Because I was blessed with an awesome father who mentored me, and he goes, you know what? Some days are better than other days, but if every day you can do one thing that's going to help improve your life, you're going to be one step closer to, you know, where you want to be. So when I wake up, it's like, all right, what can I do positive today? What are my goals? You know, sometimes the goal is to have quality time with my girls, you know, and we're going to watch a movie, or, you know, my middle child, my 5-year-old, loves to play cards now. Like, her world is opened up to card games. So it's like, can we play Crazy Eights or this? So it's like, all right, I'm going to teach her a new game, or we're going to do this or do that, you know. And then some of them are more adulting, like, all right, what do I need to do today? All right, I got to apply for that mortgage for the new property I'm buying, you know. So that's probably the first thing when I wake up is, what can I do today that's going to make a difference?
I like that. And it also reminds me too of this idea of, it's one of your 3 key elements of being that asset to other people too. So it's like, if you're aware of what you need to do and you're thinking about those positive things you can do for yourself, then you can become that asset to other people, right? And I think that's a great way to start the day, because it's what everybody does anyway, right? Is you're starting the day like thinking about what's going to happen, but if you can shift that a bit and say, okay, what's the positive thing, and let's limit it to start with one thing. What's one positive thing I'm going to do today? I think that's a really nice kind of practical step to start. So I appreciate the question. That's a really nice answer. All right, so there's a ton of stuff that you mentioned that I wanted to kind of ask a bit more about. So one of the things you talked about, and we go back to the beginning of the presentation, you talked about the Dragon Warrior Code, which I love. I mean, I am what I am because I choose to be. But then you also mentioned the role that, like, in that context, your classmates, your coach, your family is kind of part of that whole mindset, that whole approach. But then you also said letting go of categories, as in like, and I think that's what you said, is letting go of categories. Yes, I think you mean people, right? Like the categories you apply to people. Can you talk a bit about that, about like what impact that has and how it kind of connects to the asset mindset?
That was very freeing, and letting go of judgments to realize, like, it's almost like the Serenity Prayer, you know? So it's like, these are things I can control, these are things I can't, you know, and not to overjudge, letting go of, like, we're all one. So when we're getting into that, my instructors, you know, my family instructors, my classmates, my heart and my mind, we're all working together. You know, we have siblings or family members. We might not all disagree, but guess what? Our one goal is to be a loving family. Or, you know, your coworkers, hey, our goal is to have a successful business, or get this project done on time, or have a successful project. You might not all agree, but you go back to, you know, we're all one. And that it's a very powerful, it's philosophical. Like, I break down, there's a whole huge, like, line by line, I break down the Dragon Warrior Code, because it's been a journey of life understanding that. And that's something that we would repeat before we, in a sense, meditated at the end of our martial art class. So, you know, we train, we do all this stuff, and then that's how we'd end. And we'd spend 5 minutes to, like, kind of relax, let go of all that stress. And it was like, recited it, which was super powerful and really helped shape me and my mindset. So yeah, if you want to know more and understand about that, absolutely, you know, pick up the book, because I go into great depth explaining how, like, yeah, it doesn't have to be just martial arts. Like that Dragon Warrior Code, you don't have to be in karate to understand, like, hey, you want to have peace within, like, you want to have peace within yourself, right? Like, I think that's something we all probably want. You don't have to be a martial artist to apply that to your life.
That's great. You know, the kind of the thread that you followed throughout your presentation, I mean, I think connects things really nicely, because the next note I had was about the Special Forces motto, free the oppressed. And I just really like that kind of, I mean, it's two different worlds, two different communities of people, I'm sure, between your martial arts community and your special forces community. But yet that same idea, free the oppressed, is very, it is outward looking, right? But it's also, you mentioned it as like yourself as being the oppressed. So like I said before, every kind of aspect of this is both like inward and outward looking simultaneously. And a lot of times when you hear people talking, it's either one or the other, or they've completely separate, approaches to handle one versus the other. Where I think this all kind of, it's all the same, like momentum and everything in the same direction, but both looking outward and inward simultaneously is really nice. I don't have a question to ask. I'm just appreciative of,
no,
of the narrative.
You're spot on. As far as the asset mindset is all inclusive. Like, it's not just like, oh, I'm just going to have the asset mindset and I'm good. Like, no,
Right.
It involves other people, and you mentioned the martial artists and then like the Green Berets or special forces, different things. Like, the amazing thing that I've found is so much like what makes special forces so great and those people is their mindset, their heart, and their love. Like, nobody's going to fight harder for someone that they love, whether it's their country, their friend, or, that brotherhood. Like, I'm getting goosebumps right now. I don't know how well people can see it, but like that, like, I would do anything for the guys I was downrange with, and they would do that same thing for me. That's why the team is so powerful, that dynamic. And it's not because we're just trying to be, I don't know, I don't want to swear, but like all BA, and we're big and tough and we're the baddest people in the world. It's like, I'm going to fight with everything I have to protect the people I love. And that's what makes that warrior spirit so strong. And so, like, I talk about my book, like, people don't realize that unless you're in that community. Like, they'll give their shirt off their back for their brother, or when someone's they're starving, they'll give their food away, for someone else. Like, it's amazing that these people that we see in movies or that are portrayed in video games that are just like these brutal killers that are actually motivated by love. And people don't understand that. And it's kind of weird and hard to understand, but, hopefully my book sheds some light on that. So I don't know. It's just a very interesting thing. And I've got a lot of feedback from that. I'm like, wow, that was an eye opener. People didn't realize, because my book is not like, it says a special forces perspective for success. Like, yes, it has elements of that, but it's not like a war story book. It's not just about special forces. It is about the philosophy that special forces have in their mind, and about loving and caring and to free the oppressed, or de oppresso liber.
I love that. And so to me, as you were talking, it's like there's lots of stuff personally that I'm like, okay, it seems very practical and doable, and which is nice to walk away with that. But also just in like a corporate perspective, there's a lot of things that like corporations are trying to get their employees to do, like behavior wise, act a certain way towards each other, that they kind of brute force. And I do think that this kind of like changing your mindset, changing your perspective on both yourself, what's attainable in those that are around you, and looking at people and yourself as an asset. Because I think if you do look at yourself as an asset, somebody works in finance. When I read asset mindset, I was like, oh, we're doing a finance talk, but it actually applies, because if you're thinking about assets, it's an investment. It's something that you would carefully consider, and you would want something that's going to grow, and you want something that like you've done some research and put some thought into, and you want to surround it with other assets that complement it. I'm probably taking the analogy a bit too far, but
no, you're not. That's why the title is what it is. You're spot on, Rob. Great. You already have the mindset a little bit. Keep going.
You're a good teacher. You're a good teacher. So, yeah, no, that to me, this is something that I will be taking back to work. I'll be sending you a message to continue talking after this. So, we're a bit over time, so I just want to thank you for your time. And we do have one last question from the chat, and it's a bit more lighthearted. So I think this will be a good way to go out. And I do want to thank you for your service, and also just second the fact that anybody I know who has served, whatever reputation you see in movies and things like that, as far as like having a solid footing and a good mindset and a good kind of more clear and appreciative approach to other people. All the veterans and active duty folks that I've met all seem to have that. So there is something there for sure. And so the last question from Steve is, as a bodyguard, who's the most famous actor that you protected?
Oh, geez. I guess it's,
Can you name drop? Is that allowed?
I've been around Robert De Niro, Sylvester Stallone. David Spade was fun. He's hilarious. I got to meet The Rock. I was very impressed by The Rock when I met him.
Did you feel small next to The Rock?
Actually, I kind of did, but then I realized we're almost, he's more thick than I am, but height-wise and whatnot, I was like, we were eye to eye. I'm a big guy. I'm like 4, so,
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, he's pretty tall.
6'4", 225, 230, run around there. So, but no, he's a beast. But like, just the nice guy he was, family man and all that stuff. So, but yeah, no, it's been surreal. Like, I've been with Hank Williams Jr. and Kid Rock and myself, like having barbecue sandwiches out back in Alabama one time. I'm like, how did I get here? Like, here I am, some kid that like grew up in Massachusetts in the South Shore and like went to a small school and went to the state school, now I'm like, I've flown on private jets and all around. Like it's amazing. So, but people, you can get out there. Life is out there. Go get it.
That's not a sales pitch for your book. I don't know what is. So I'm gonna stop there because that's just a perfect ending. So, Dan, thank you. I cannot thank you for your time and for sharing with us. This has been amazing. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. God bless.
Such a great presentation. So
thank
you so much. And as always, thanks to Dr. Rob for effortlessly facilitating our question and answers. As a matter of fact, he's done such a good job all year that I am going to give you a couple months off, Rob.
Just for me.
Take a little break, enjoy the summer a little, but don't go too far because you'll definitely be back in September. And Dan, just great. We were kind of joking before we came on the presentation that I was going to add it to my Amazon, but I actually did add it to my Amazon since the guy's here every day anyways. He should be dropping it off, within the next couple of days. So that's exciting. Great beach reading for the summer. And, just a really great, premise to the whole presentation. So thank you so much. We're so
thanks. And maybe you'll be one of the people that read it more than once, because that's one of the things that finding, like, even myself, like I've gone back through, prepping for things or rereading. I'm like, I needed to reread that.
So exciting. So happy to do that. And, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be taking a break from the Aluminars for the next few months, just July and August. And don't worry, we'll be back come September with a brand new Aluminar schedule. And if anyone has any feedback or ideas for a future Aluminar, as always, you can email us at alumni@bridgew.edu. And on behalf of the entire alumni office, first, I'm going to ask you to not forget to save the date and join us in person, people. We're coming back in person on October 23rd for the biggest and best homecoming yet, I promise. So registration will go live mid-July. So I just want to remind everybody to watch out for that. And I want to thank all of you for being with us here this afternoon and for participating in our Aluminar series. Many of you attend often, and we're so happy to have your support. So have a wonderful and hopefully relaxing summer. Make great memories with your family, and we will see you in September. Take care. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.